Welcome to my Outlining with Scrivener video. Today I'm going to be talking about the 3-act structure and how to quickly set it up in Scrivener. You can pause at any time. Now let's move on to the show. Here you can see I've got a standard novel format, straight out of Scrivener, new project. I have added 3 folders. To each of these folders I have also added 3 folders. I have also gone to View, Use Label Color In, and selected Binder. This has colored all of these little links so that I can quickly see what I am looking at. I have also turned on the inspector here, the little blue circle with a white eye in it. Now, for Act 1 itself, so the first thing I did is I actually created 3 folders, Acts 1, 2, and 3. In Act 1, we are going to meet our characters, tell us a little something about the setting that they are in, including the time, place, anything that's relevant. And then we're going to move on to the inciting incident. And the way I've set this up allows us to actually go into these individual folders, like the meeting, and I can punch up a bunch of files down here at the bottom, new text, and I can type a synopsis in of what we're meeting, how we're meeting it, on little note cards like this. And this will become, I'm just going to toss that away because I'm not going to use it, it'll become the actual parts of the book, the scenes in the novel. So, but moving on from meeting your characters, you're going to have your inciting incident. This is what starts everything going. And most of the time, why would your protagonist want to get involved in something like this? You're going to pose your dramatic questions here. Things like, if you're writing a romance, are they going to find true love? And a lot of times in books, you'll see that the protagonist doesn't really get moving without a push. And that push is the turning point. These are the events that force your character to move forward, whether they are fleeing for their lives or they've made a decision that they're going to go on this journey, or they've decided to accept a friend's invitation to go and stay at a holiday house out on the beach. Whatever it is, these are the events that move the character forward by some decision that is typically within your character's grasp. They actually make the decisions. Not always, granted, but most of the time. And we're going to move into Act 2. And Act 2 is all about obstacles. The first pinch is that they lead to the protagonist's first failure. And then that leads into the midpoint, the reevaluation of where, who, what, why. All of these questions that the protagonist ends up having to answer for themselves, or have answered for them. Which leads us into the second pinch. Now the second pinch, it really tends to look like a high note. Alright, we're winning the war. We found this girl that we were just completely and totally in love with. Whatever it is that is the reason for their journey, the second pinch looks like it's bringing it to an end. Which brings us into Act 3. Act 3 is the turning point. If you're writing a romance novel and your characters meet on a beach and they're falling madly in love, he utterly loves this person, and he decides at the end of Act 2 that he is going to ask her out, or whatever it might be. The turning point is typically where, she says something like, "Oh yeah, you should come and meet my husband," or something, you should meet my boyfriend. And this is the point where The protagonist thinks that they know what's going on, and the turning point shows that, yeah, you really don't. But it draws the reader in deeper. It makes them want the protagonist to win. And the stand-up is the events that lead to the protagonist evaluating themselves. They decide what they need to do, how they need to do it. So let's go back to this romance novel. Okay, so she suddenly has a boyfriend, and, your protagonist is going to feel like they've been wasting their time, blah, blah, blah. They're probably going to go back to the city at that point. The stand-up may not even happen from the protagonist in that situation. It may be the co-protagonist, the love interest, that calls and says, things are really messed up, I really need to talk to you, please call me back. The stand-up may be as simple as him deciding, okay, I really like this girl, I'm going to pick up the phone and call her back. And that's going to lead to the ending. This is the point where all dramatic questions will be answered within reason. I mean, you understand that there are definitely books that are series, and there are dramatic questions that are asked or hinted at that are not answered. A very good example of that would be C.J. Sherry. She has these wonderful books called the Foreigner series. And there are a lot of questions that are hinted at in the books that are not immediately answered in that same book. But for the most part, the dramatic questions that you pose in the first act, you answer in the ending. And again, I use folders here so that it makes it easy to just pop in here. We know what our goal is. Our goal is to answer the questions. And I can pop as many scenes as I need. In the end, the 3-act structure works really well. So far, I have heard a lot of people say they don't like it, and that's entirely possible. I mean, there are definitely drawbacks. There are things that just don't fit with the structure. That being said, there are other structures out there. There's the hero's journey. There's another one that looks like a 90-degree triangle. Can't think of the name off the top of my head. But outlining in general is very, very quickly done in Scrivener. And then when you get done with your outline, you can come here to File and Compile. I'm realizing it's not going to show this at all for some reason. But you choose your Format As, and you choose to format it as a synopsis outline, and compile for print or preview, and it will plug this very nice file out that you can then use when writing your actual novel. I really want to encourage all of you that are watching this and are learning to use Scrivener to participate in Camp NaNoWriMo. It's coming up here in April, and it is a chance for you to write a novel or a short story or something bigger than yourself. And it is something that is a bit undescribable. I participated last year in the NaNoWriMo, 50,000 words, 30 days, and Scrivener just makes it so much faster because of the ability to outline, because the corkboard is right there. So if you're wanting to use Scrivener and you're not sure what you want to do with it, or you have something that you want to do with it and you need help, please comment below. Ask. I have absolutely no problem doing additional tutorials in Scrivener. That being said, have a wonderful day and thank you for watching.